If you're about to turn 65, but you're still working, what do you do about Medicare? It's an important issue that comes up a lot these days, and I'm going to go over that right now, so stay tuned. Okay, so if you are turning 65, time to sign up for Medicare, but you're still working, what do you do? And these days, certainly 65 is not necessarily the defining time to retire or stop working. A lot of people either have to or want to continue working past age 65. So what do you do about Medicare? And it's really important that you get this right because it can come back to bite you if we don't do it correctly. So I'm going to go through that right now. I'm Keith Armbrecht, founder of Medicare on Video. I help people across the country make the right Medicare choices, and I can absolutely help you as well. Something you want to do right now, subscribe to my channel because you're going to need more Medicare information as you go along and get closer to the time that you want to start Medicare. So I'm going to give you an idea on exactly what you need to do right now. And also, if you stay with me till the end, I'll show you how to download my free book, Medicare Made Clear, which has everything that you need to know about Medicare. I go over all the pieces. I have videos in the book. I have all the links. Everything that you need in your Medicare journey is right in this book, and you can have it for free. You can download it right now. I'll show you exactly how. Right now, we're going to talk about what to do if you're still working past age 65 and you're eligible for Medicare. And it's a little complicated, so they make it harder than it needs to be. So the first thing to understand is there's a line on how big your employer is, and that's a pretty big deal, and I have no idea why they do it this way, but they do. But that line is 20. So it's different if you work for an employer with less than 20 employees or if you work for an employer that has 20 or more employees. So it's 20 or more, or really 19 or less. So those are the two dividing lines on what to do with your Medicare, and it's completely different. So how you're supposed to know how many employees your employer reports to the government as being regular employees, whether it's 15 or 20, somehow you're supposed to know that, but that is the way it is. So if you work for an employer that has 19 or less employees, Medicare is primary. So when you turn 65, if you work for that small employer, Medicare becomes primary. So what you want to do in that case is absolutely come off your employer plan. So your employer could be paying a majority of your costs for that employer plan, but generally on smaller employees, it's not usually the same. But Medicare is the first payer. So that work insurance isn't going to pay because Medicare is supposed to pay. So we want to make sure we understand that. So if you're working for somebody less than 19 employees, and again, if it's right on the line, I'm not sure exactly how you're going to figure that out, but that is the rule. So you want to make sure you sign up for your Medicare A, your Medicare Part B, and I have videos on all this stuff on my YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe and you can go through videos as you need them. And I come out with videos all the time, so and it's all Medicare, and we make sure that we get it right. But less than 20 employees, 19 or less, you're going to want to go on to Medicare. So A and B, and then you decide whether you stay on original, go on to Medicare Advantage, another big decision. Make sure you check out the video. And then we piece it all together from there. So important to understand that. So if we are at an employer that's larger than 20 employees, the group insurance is primary. So you may not want to come off your group insurance if you are working for an employer that has 20 or more employees and generally contributes to the cost of your employer plan. Now, if you had the plan side by side, if you were paying 100% of your group coverage versus 100% of Medicare, generally Medicare is going to be much better and much lower cost. So the reason you would want to stay on a group plan is if the employer is covering the majority or sometimes even 100% of the employee premium. So that's the difference on the larger employer is you'll likely want to stay on your group plan until you're ready to retire. Now, it's important to understand if you do this, there's a couple other things you need to really understand. You do not want to start your Medicare Part B. And Medicare Part B should not start unless you initiate it. But it confuses a lot of people, and a lot of people start it when they turn 65. So if you are going to stay on your work insurance, you do not want to start Part B. So why don't we want to start Part B? Number one, it has a premium. So you don't want to pay that premium when you're not using it and you're still using your group plan. But also, and equally as important, it's a trigger. So when you come into Medicare, and generally if it's at age 65, you have free reign to pick anything you want without any medical questions. So you can be in good health or not good health, and you can choose anything you want. Once your Medicare has been in place for more than 6 months, that's no longer the case. You have to go through medical underwriting on certain issues to be able to get some things that you might want. So Part B is that trigger. So if you're not going to come into Medicare at 65, you do not want to start your Medicare Part B, because when you do retire, if it's at 68, 70, 75, whatever it may be, and you start your Part B at that point, that's your trigger. So it's just like turning 65. You can pick anything you want. You don't have to worry about health questions or height or weight or any of that stuff. So make sure if you stay on your group coverage and you're at an employer larger than 20, that you don't start your Part B. Now, another issue that comes up a lot is, what about my spouse? So a lot of times an employee has their spouse on their plan as well, and that's their primary insurance. So this can get a little complicated as well. So first instance, if you're less than 65 and your spouse is turning 65 and she's on your plan or he's on your plan, then likely it'll make sense for them to come off your plan and go into Medicare, because that goes back to apples. What's a better deal, Medicare or group insurance? And generally the employer is not paying for the dependent on the group coverage. So usually it makes a lot of sense for the dependent to come off the group coverage, go into Medicare, better coverage, lower cost, and so forth. So give us a call. We can easily walk right through that with you and let you know if it makes sense to do it or doesn't make sense to do it. But same thing, if they're not gonna go into Medicare, do not start Part B. But generally the dependent makes more sense to go into Medicare and come off the group plan. Now the other scenario, what if I'm turning 65, I'm the employee, and my dependent, my spouse, is 60 and not ready for Medicare? Now this can absolutely be complicated, because a lot of times if you end your employer coverage and come into Medicare, it ends for your dependent as well. So some larger employers allow a dependent to stay on, but this can get complicated, and something that really, give us a call. We can walk through the scenarios, figure out the best way, because we don't want, obviously, to mess up our spouse's coverage because we're ready for Medicare. But there are some ways to make it more beneficial. So we want to make sure that we take care of all that. So in any case, when you are coming off your group plan, if you're going to retire past age 65, you're going to need some additional paperwork. You're going to need an employer coverage form that your employer fills out that shows that you've had coverage all this time past age 65, so that you don't have a penalty on your Medicare Part B. So we have to get this form filled out, and you can find it right on my website, MedicareOnVideo.com. Easy to do, just we have to make sure it gets done. So you can download it right off my site. You email it to your HR department or whoever handles your health insurance. They fill it out, give it back to you, and then you submit that to Medicare when it's time to enroll after age 65. So these, you can see, it's a little complicated if you're still working, especially if you have less than 20 employees. It's silly complicated. So if more than 20 employees, makes sense generally for the employee to stay on, but doesn't usually make sense for the dependent to stay on. And then if it's vice versa and the employee is older and the dependent's younger, it can be complicated. So we're happy to help with all this. That's exactly what I do, is I help people with their Medicare choices. I'm an independent insurance broker. There's no cost to you to allow me to help you, so hopefully you will allow me to help you. We'll make sure we get all your pieces in the right places, make sure you get exactly what you want to have, and then you won't have to think about health insurance again, really, for the rest of your life, because Medicare is really, really good, which is kind of crazy as well. So a government program that absolutely works fantastic as long as we do it right. So stay tuned right now. I'm going to show you how to download my book, Medicare Made Clear. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, very helpful to me. It gets it out to more people. And I hope you found this helpful. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you found it very helpful. Here are a couple other things that you'll also find helpful as you go through Medicare. The first one is a copy of my book, Medicare Made Clear. You can download it right now for free. I've put a lot of time and effort into this book, and you'll see I cover just about every piece of Medicare, and I've written it in a way that makes it pretty easy to understand. Now, I also have videos throughout the book, so if you don't want to read through all the information, click on the video and I'll explain it all to you right there. You'll also find all the links that you need to either sign up for Medicare or things that you're going to need now or in the future when things come up related to Medicare. So take just a minute, go to medicareonvideo.com/free book, and you can download it right now. Now also make sure once you're in Medicare that every year you come back and visit Medicare Price Check. This is my other website where I make it super easy for us to compare our current coverage against new plans that may be less expensive. And remember that Medicare supplements are standardized, so it doesn't matter which insurance company we use, we'll still have the same Plan G or the Plan N that we have now, but hopefully we can get it at a lower price. So visit MedicarePriceCheck.com. Real easy. We'll email you the quote. If it makes sense, then we'll do it from there. So I hope you found all this helpful. Have a fantastic day. Hey, don't go anywhere. These are some of my most recent videos right here. You can also find the link right below this video to download my book, Medicare Made Clear, absolutely free. You can also subscribe to my channel right here. So please download my book, watch some videos, subscribe to the channel. Have a great day.